Here we go then. Welcome to the show, Christian. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. Thank you for obviously giving me this opportunity, your platform to share part of my story and how grateful I am for everything I've been through because I'm in a good position mentally and probably the happiest I've ever been. So thank you, man.
Amazing, mate. We obviously spoke on the phone last week about this, and I've been excited for it all week. So, mate, tell the guys who you are, like your story, and yeah, let's get straight into it.
Yeah, obviously my name's Cristian Montano. I was born in Colombia. Um, Moved over to the UK when I was 10 years old. And obviously the reason for moving over was my mum's obviously younger brother got caught up in a lot of things that his life depended on. So she had to basically get him out of the country. So she sacrificed spending time with me to save her brother. But also, not just that, she was in search of better opportunities for myself. Don't get me wrong, I love Colombia. It's an amazing country, but where I was born, a small town where there's not much opportunities out there for the kids, even for the adults. And yeah, so she done that, which obviously I'm forever, like I owe a lot to my mum. To this day, I always say thank you to her because if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be the person I am now. And obviously moving to the UK was a challenge. Obviously I'm a 10-year-old kid who could not speak English. I still can't. But it was cold, no friends, no school at the time, obviously for me, coming over here, no friends and no football, which is what I did back home. And it was hard at the start, but you know what, my mum reassured me that she was going to make sure that she found me a school and she was going to get me playing football because I wanted to go back home. I'm a young kid, obviously, you just want to be playing out, which in Colombia had the freedom to do that. But moving to Tottenham, North London, it was hard for me. And then obviously after crying and being upset, being down, she basically promised me that things would change. But me as a young kid, not understanding the struggle she had to go through to actually get me over to the UK, I didn't understand it at the time. I was just being a kid. I want my friends, I want to be able to play out. It's too cold for me, I can't speak the language, and all of that was just hard. Eventually she got me into a school, which things obviously starting to feel more normal for me, but it still was hard because I had to travel from North London to Hackney to go to school. And I was, like I said, a young kid, 10 years old. Obviously she showed me the way, she taught me a few times, and then eventually I was able to travel on my own with like friends or that went to the same school or around the same area from where I was raised, where I grew up in London, and it was challenging. So my whole life has been built on being uncomfortable, and something that I'm grateful for. Like I love it, really. I love being uncomfortable because it allows me to dig deep within myself and realize how much I can actually do and how much I can learn and how much I can grow. And that's due to the way I was raised. Being able also to see how much struggle my mum went through. It wasn't easy, and it just taught me so much value, so much respect, so much appreciation, and a lot of self-worth. And just taught me how to be grateful, really. And obviously, after moving to England and finding the school, finding the football team, eventually I joined the football team, and it was a lot easier then because the football club that I joined was run by a South American guy, Colombian. The club I joined was called Universal FC, which was full of Latin American players, young kids, so I could speak Spanish to them. And then I started enjoying my life, and eventually I joined obviously West Ham at the age of 11. I got scouted by West Ham, so a year after I've come to the UK, I got scouted by West Ham and I signed for them, and they also made me feel so welcome, made me feel at home. Even though I couldn't really speak the language properly, I could understand everything after a year, but I couldn't really speak it. And they just took me in, and also a club that taught me values, respect, dedication, hard work, manners. They taught me everything. Seeing how they were with me was amazing. And obviously after a few years at West Ham, things were looking up. Everything that a kid dreams of, playing for a professional team and just living a dream, really. Then I hit a massive obstacle when just a year before scholarships were given out, where I fractured my lower spine. So that was hard because obviously I couldn't play football. I was close to being in a wheelchair and not being able to walk. And then again, uncomfortable situation for myself as a young kid. So I always look back to the struggle my mom went through, how much she had to work and how hard she worked, and that never giving up mentality that she's always had. It's always been with me, and obviously going through that was hard, but I knew I could bounce back. And then I recovered, I think, was as they were giving out the scholarships, but they couldn't make the mind up on me because I've not played the whole year. And eventually they gave me the opportunity to play a year older for the older age group to see how I'll cope, and I've done really well. Then the team who we played against offered me a scholarship and a pro contract, but then eventually West Ham offered me a scholarship. And obviously I didn't want to leave West Ham. Signed that, signed my first scholarship with them, which then obviously requires you to have good grades also, which I didn't know. I also didn't know what a scholarship was at the time, because obviously my mum raised me. She was not so much into football, so she didn't know how football worked, or that you could earn a living from playing football. I thought, obviously, because everything was to an extent given to me through my mum, how much she struggled and what she did. She always made sure I had what I wanted, what I needed. So I thought life was easy. And once the scholarship came, the contract, and I got told how much I was going to get paid at that age, I think it was 16 when you leave school. It is 16, ain't it? I can't remember. I'm 31 now.
Yeah.
So I see how much I was going to earn, and I'm thinking, oh, you get paid for playing football and studying. Because then I started doing my coaching badges with West Ham, which you have to do as well, and eventually moved into professional contract. And then I saw how much money I got offered, and I was like, whoa. And I went home like buzzing. I still didn't know like you could earn decent amount of money at such a young age. And told my mom, when I was buzzing, I was like, Mom, boom, like I can't believe I'm getting this. And obviously I see how much my mom worked and what she was earning. I'm thinking I'm basically gonna earn double or near enough triple. Then my mom at 17, 18. But I was able to help my mom where she stopped working and she moved him to the place that I had, because I moved down, I got my own place, but she moved in with me and she stopped working, so I started supporting my mom a bit. But this is when things started turning, because I started to believe the hype. I started to get caught up in this cloud, the money, what came with the title of playing football. And I say that because I used to call myself a footballer, even though I still play it, but it's about what words you use. So I'll say playing football because football is not who I am. But back then, it's who I thought I was, my identity. Now I lost my identity, I lost who I was. I lost that kid that I lost Christian. Like Christian was lost because of the title that I gave myself and the hype that I believed. And I went from listening to my mom to thinking, no, I'm the one that's earning the money now, basically. So I do what I want type of thing, attitude. And everything came crashing down a few years after that, because then I got offered a new contract, West Ham, turned it down because I was about to be a father for the first time, which I don't regret. Like, I love my kids. I've got 2 boys now, but this was with my ex-girlfriend at the time. And things started obviously changing for me. The group of friends that I thought were friends, but no, it was more, they were attracted to what I did and what I had. But I was blind to that until I lost it all overnight. And this was in 2013, 3 days before my birthday, my 23rd birthday. I lost everything. I went from West Ham, got bought essentially by Oldham Athletic because I didn't want to sign my new contract because I was going to be a father. I wanted security for my kid. And eventually I got caught up in a lot of madness through going out, friends, rape accusations. Not that I raped anyone, but something that came up, and he was obviously a friend of mine, slept with someone, and obviously the girl saw that I played football, boom, 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 boom. Then she went to the police and said that it was me, and I was like, what? My friend who basically slept with her. But anyways, eventually our stories didn't match because I was panicking. I've never been involved with the police. So I was saying a whole lot of rubbish to them, being offensive about the female, which I regret because I've never been raised to disrespect females, whether it's physically, verbally. But in that moment, the heat, the frustration that I had when the police came into my house and said those things, I started belittling the female. Whatever she said that I did, which is a lie, had no justification to the way I was speaking about her. But it was more frustration. And that led how this female betrayed me and the things she said and the trouble that she got me in, to an extent. I say the trouble that she got me in, but further on I will touch on a few things. I started not trusting anyone, let alone friends, because obviously I told him not to bring that girl back to my house. He did, and I allowed it. And then I stopped trusting females, including my mum, just based on what a random female said. I just thought all females were the same. Then that led to me obviously splitting up with my ex. When that rape thing happened, because like I said, I stopped trusting females, even though she stopped trusting me as well, because how can I let a female come into a house, which is understandable. And fast forward time, I met an amazing woman who's the mother the mother of my youngest child, Nico. He's 6 years old now. So I met her during all this chaos where all those things I got caught up in. Between that, I got caught up in a match fixing scandal, but I'm not going to go into details of that because obviously I spoke to you about that, what I'm thinking of doing with all that, everything. But that woman, Johanna, came into my life at a difficult time where I lost everything, where I became homeless due to everything I was going through. I lost everything. And then obviously social media came in where I was getting abused, being called all sort of names. So I was already guilty without even facing a judge for both things. People thought they knew better, saying, with all that money, how can I be doing things like that? And judging me, saying that I deserve to die, I deserve to get my legs broken, I'm a horrible person. So reading all those things, I started to believe I was that individual that they were saying that I was. So being homeless but then also trying. But you're bearing in mind, I'm 23 now, and I got sacked, 3 days before 2023. So that was an amazing birthday present. But
Sacked you even though it wasn't proven.
yeah, this was still not even investigation that potentially started. But I got sacked, obviously, as the match fixing scandal came up as well. So there was two accusations that the
Right.
club thought, no, we need to get rid of this madman, basically. Even though I wasn't found guilty. It was just investigation. So the club sacked. I'm not going to name the club.
Were you
Even
playing at the time? Like, were you playing first team?
I was playing first in football. Yeah, I was playing in League One.
Performing well?
Yeah, I was performing well. I was doing really well, but I got sacked because
So the
maybe
relationship
the club.
you were having, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the relationships you were having, like they weren't distracting you from your game. Like you said, you were getting around the wrong people and stuff, but you still were performing, you were still training, like it wasn't affecting you in that way, no?
Nah, I've always been well, I was, and I still am, but in different ways. But back then, I was able to separate everything, and I was still performing, doing well. But then I was living my life a crazy way, but not doing anything bad, like to hurt people, anything. I was just around the wrong people. I was easily influenced. I was naive. I was young, and I thought these people were there because of me, not because of what I had, or because of what I was doing.
I have a question. So at that age, this was what, 10 years ago, yeah? So you're
Yeah.
obviously making good money, but you're young. Like you're not used to handling that type of money. Is there like people in place in these football clubs to help young people to learn how to navigate the world of like earning a lot of money when you don't really know, do you know what I mean? How to use it?
Back then, you would get people that come into the club in regards of like to give you advice on finances and all that. But then again, for myself, I'm not speaking for everyone else, but for myself, I wasn't raised to understand finances. My mum didn't really know much about that. My mum basically was a single parent mum. All she did was work, pay the bills, and looked after me. We didn't know you could actually make a living from playing football.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know you could. I like, honestly didn't know you could earn decent money from playing football. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking my mum didn't know that, or maybe my dad was there to raise me. He probably would have understood football and how football works. He would have probably advised me better. But everything, I had to learn it the hard way. And we'll touch on a few things when we spoke on the phone that I said about pain and struggle and obstacles and all those things. But I had to learn the hard way, how to look after my money. And the hard way was losing everything, everything that I dreamed of. To have cars, to have nice house, to have decent amount of money in my bank account, to be able to afford things that I wanted. Everything I lost overnight for being naive, being stupid, always going clubbing, always going out. It stopped being that kid that listened to my mom and paid attention to the advices of like pick your friends wisely. But I just picked my friends based on who went out the most, basically, because I thought that was happiness.
How often was you going out? Is it once a week or are you talking like all the time?
I went from not going out to then experiencing the nightlife, and I was going out, I would say about 3 times a week. And I'll finish playing my game, I'll get home, get changed, and then I'm out, basically. And then I thought that was happiness. And how wrong was I? I thought, oh, I'm at home, I'm not doing nothing, let me put some clothes on, I'm going out. And while I was in the club, drinking and obviously surrounded by all these people, the music, getting drunk, I thought, yeah, this is happiness, man. This is a good life. But no, deep down, I was a lonely guy. Deep down, I was, trying to feel something that, the wrong way. I was in search of fulfillment, but at the wrong places. I didn't understand. I lost my way, type of thing. Like I wasn't like a wrong man. I wasn't like a bad guy. I just thought partying was life. I thought being around people all the time was good. Being around company was always good. But like I said, I met Joe after all my going out scenes, because I had to start. I've been sad. I got no more money. I've got no house. And I met her literally just before all this started. So she's getting to know me, and then all of a sudden, boom, this guy's living in these for the wrong reasons. And she stuck by me because she knew who I was as a person. She stuck by me, supported me. And she, to an extent, she helped me change. But she helped me change because I stopped going out. But then, like I said, I couldn't. But the support that she gave me and how she treated me made me realize that going out and all the way I was living my life was not the right way. I was just doing things for the wrong reason, really. I wasn't being careful. And then it led to, obviously, what I just said. Sacked, homeless, 2 cases. And I thought everyone was against me, which then led to me wanting to take my own life. And
23 at this point. 23 years old at this point, yeah?
Yeah. So 23 years old, and I wanted to end it all, basically. And I already had my first child, but it wasn't the feeling that I was going through and how I felt. I completely forgot about everyone because I thought everyone was against me. And I wanted to end it because, how can I put it? I was a kid born in Colombia, moved to the UK for better opportunities given by my mum through her hard work and struggles, to then had dreams. But my dream was to eventually have money, house, cars, be able to do all those things. That was my dream as a young kid. And eventually I achieved all of that. And eventually I lost everything. So what is there else to fight for? That was my mindset. Everything I wanted, I achieved it by the age of 23, and I've lost it as well. So I could just take my life. That's what I thought. And when I was gonna do it, obviously my mom and my missus now, Johanna, they could sense something. And obviously they got to the house at a time, because they were meant to be gone for about 3 or 4 hours. That was their plan. They were gonna go do something. Because at the time I was staying at my uncle's. Yeah, for a little while I fixed myself up. And I thought, well, no one's home. My mum and my missus are going out. I've planned it all. Bang. Enough time for them. When they come back, I'm dead, basically. But I didn't think about the pain that I was going to cause them because of the pain that I was going through. You can sound a bit selfish at the time, but for me, it wasn't. Until I saw their faces when they came back unexpectedly, and seeing them crying, shaking me, and me then being able to open up. And the only reason I opened up because I saw how hurt they were because of what I was about to do. And if they didn't come back at the time they did, they probably would have not been able to hear what I was going through. And seeing them like that, I was able to realize that they did genuinely care about me. Even though my missus stuck by me through all of that, I still had doubts. I still felt worthless. I still felt like I didn't belong because of the amount of shame I put them through due to the bad publicity that I was getting and my name being tarnished. So was my image. So I was just embarrassed. And seeing them like that, I was able to sort of like wake myself up and cry, let all my emotions out and speak about why I felt the way I was feeling and what I was thinking of doing.
Was you hiding it for a while?
The pain, yeah. But my pain was hidden and it was coming out in a very aggressive way because of the distrust that I had towards humans. And I was very offensive, rude to my mom, to my missus, even though they were the only ones there supporting me. But that was the only way that I felt that could make people feel the way I was feeling, which was the wrong way. I blamed everyone for what I was going through, which is also the wrong thing to do. By the time it made perfectly sense to me. Like, if I'm going through this, I'm feeling like this, you're gonna have to fucking feel like this. And I realized I was doing it to the wrong people. And then essentially I realized that what I was gonna do, it was actually, it was gonna put me to rest, but it was gonna leave a lot of pain behind. And all I had to do was basically open up and be honest about my feelings and find a way out.
I know you're quite connected with God and a higher power. Like, at this point in your life, was you or not?
Yeah, this is when, after speaking to them and going through that, obviously I've always been someone who's prayed in that. But like I said, I just forgot about everything. And then after speaking to my mom and my missus, I say I'm that big believer in God, and it must have been him that sent, because my mom, my missus, they both planned to be at the house for a long time. They told me what they were gonna go do. And for them to leave the house and be back 20 minutes, basically half an hour later, then eventually everything started making sense to me. And one time, obviously, after all of that, obviously, fast forward to them, me opening up, being honest about my feelings, my emotions. I was at home, not at home, my missus eventually ended up moving from up north to London to help me with my cases that I was facing. At this point, I've got no money. I'm living in a shared accommodation now, but something that my missus rented. She found a job in London. But this house, I couldn't be there because it was for one person. So I had to basically sneak in, sleeping down. And if I was in there, I had to stay as quiet as possible. And the only thing I had with me that I could say was mine, obviously, my son, my oldest, and my phone. And what I'd done, I deleted obviously social media, and I started just praying. And this sense of belief and strength just took over me, really. That even though I had nothing to show for, I realized that no matter what I went through or what I was getting accused of or how offensive it might have been towards my mom and my missus at the time, I was still loved by God. Because all the time I went from, I've lost everything, I've got nothing, I want to kill myself, to believing that somehow I'm going to change my life around.
What was you praying for?
Just praying for a light, a bit of change. Because suffering for far too long. Because you look at these cases where one case was last about 2 years. And even though I was going through one case and still playing football, I used to sit in my house and cry but I never knew why. I never understood why.
You still playing? So what happened? Obviously you got sacked. How long was it until you got back into the game?
A year.
You had a year out.
I had a year out, basically.
Was you working like a normal job? Like what were you doing?
I was just hanging on to faith and hope and belief, man.
So your prayers were, I'm going to get back and play again.
I got told I would never play football again in the UK because of what I was going through. But my prayers were more, and the belief I had was that I was going to change my life around. That's what I used to say, and I used to pray, and I used to ask, but how? And then I used to answer my own question. I don't know, but I will.
And you kept the faith, yeah.
Huh?
You kept the faith. Was there any element of that, like doubt in your mind, because obviously the bad press, what you see on social, obviously you deleted social media, but like, I'm trying to get like the big breakthroughs, because I know there's so many guys that are going.
I'll tell you the big breakthrough, which obviously I was going to get into it, but I will tell you now, the big breakthrough was obviously deleting social media, which is one thing, right? Finding a way of taking control of me again. Detaching myself from that identity that I gave myself, and I no longer feel worthless because I wasn't playing football anymore. And the massive one was taking accountability for everything that I went through. And by that, I mean, even though I've lost everything and I went through the phase where blaming everyone, I had to sit down and relive my life in this shared accommodation quietly. Everyone thought I was doing perfectly fine. I was breaking inside. But I had to remain strong to relive everything that I went through. Step by step, from the moment my ex went to her parents' house, to the moment I went to the barbecue, to the moment I went to the club, to the moment this girl came to my house, to the moment, everything. And in all those times, in all those moments, I was always in control, but I allowed things to happen. No one forced me to let my friend bring this female back to my house. It was my house, you're not coming, that's it. I was too nice. The other case that I caught, I could have put the phone down when I got that phone call. When I got asked to do certain things. I didn't do it, but when I got asked to do that, I could have put the phone down. I could have said no. So I started telling myself that everything that I went through, me losing everything, could have also been a sign of God for me to learn the hard way, for me to find myself, for me to see who I was and who I lost within myself, and blame myself for allowing everything that happened that led to me being homeless. And once I'd done that, I was then got a sense of relief. And I said, where do I go from here? Just devoted everything, my faith on God. And out of the blue, because I won the rape case, obviously, all the money, the time I invested into this case, gone. But I got £900 check from the court. Might not sound like a lot because of the stress, the pain that I went through, but to me it felt like £1 million because I've not been paid. I've not seen any money that was mine for so long in debt, because instead of me calling the providers for the things that I had, I canceled my direct debits, which then racked up interest and all those things, which then again, it was silly for me, but I didn't know other way. I was just more focused on winning my cases. And I had nothing to do with calling providers. So I got myself in a hell of a lot of debt. And then I had this £900 check that I said, if I put this in my account, this is going to get swallowed because of what I owe. So I had to find someone that can do me a favor in regards of putting into their account, who I can trust, because I don't trust no one. Or I can just treat my missus who stuck by that with me for so long and take her to a nice hotel and eat like a king, because at this moment in time I wasn't eating right. And I said, no, fuck that. She'll understand. I'm gonna use the £900 to build my life again. How? Don't know. When? No idea. But this is gonna be the starting point. And I booked a one-way flight to Colombia, which cost £1,300. So I had to find someone to borrow me £300. No, £400. No? Yeah, 400. So I had to find someone to borrow me that and use their card to buy me the ticket. And I just went back to Colombia to train with a coach in Colombia, even though they knew about everything I went through, because the news was worldwide. They knew everything. Then I stayed with a guy called Juan. This guy I never met in my life, but then again, God works in mysterious ways and amazing ways. I've never met this guy in my entire life called Juan. I spoke to someone, Juan will take you in. And who the heck is Juan? Him and his missus will pick up from the airport. What? And where am I staying? In his house.
So who was you in contact with? Someone who runs a team in Colombia. This is a professional club.
It was an agent who helped me through my cases, but eventually he did it for the wrong reasons because he knew he could get money out of me one way or another. He believed in me for the wrong reasons.
Right. And he got you in touch with a professional? This is a club in Colombia.
He spoke to a club in Colombia, America de Cali, who are one of the biggest teams in Colombia. And the manager at the time was someone who I've known for so long. So he knew me from my time at West Ham. And he said, yeah, Chris, come in. Obviously, I know Christian, good lad. I know his personality, his character, so he can come to the club. We're not going to sign him, but he can get fit. Because I also, while I was going through all of that, I also had an MCL injury that the club who sacked me didn't want to rehab me. So I had to do my own rehab as well. During staying focused for 2 cases, during homeless time, during no money, during to an extent starving. So I done my own rehab. Thankfully also at the time, eventually my missus, after that, a few months, my missus' dad told me to go up to his house and pay for a membership for me for a month. And I done my own rehab. And obviously I ended up going back home to Colombia after that. So the club said they're not gonna sign me. I said, yeah, that's fine. I don't need to be signed. I just wanna be able to play football again. Let me just train. Then he said, look, we're not gonna judge you. Just be yourself, because I know who you are. But you are miles off it, like in terms of like physique. Like I've always been skinny my whole life, but I was, like them, what do you call those things, man, that you put on your car, like the animal things on there, and they got a fat head, and then when you brake, they just move. So my head was basically like too big for my body to an extent.
Right.
Like if I move left, I'll be off balance. That's how, like, I was finished, fucked. And I laugh because obviously that's allowed me to be in a position I am now. Obviously I've got there, I'm super skinny, but the hunger and the drive that I had in me, the belief that I had in me, I know and I understood that no team wanted to sign me. No one wants anything to do with me because of the press that I've had. But that's not who I am. So I'm here, I'm gonna make the most of it. I'm grateful for the opportunity. And I was training. I think that lasted about 2-3 months. I wasn't getting paid. Where I was staying was far as well, so I had to wake up I was sleeping in one's house. I was grateful for the roof that he gave me. I was sleeping in his kitchen, basically, but on the couch. But I was grateful. But I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. He first dropped me off to training the first couple of days, and he showed me how to get there. So I was getting up early. I had to get 3-4 buses in Colombia. Because even though I'm Colombian, but the place I went to Cali, I'm not from Cali. I don't know Cali. Cali's it's like you going from a small town in, I don't know, in the UK, and all you know is that small town, and eventually you get put in London, survive.
Yeah.
Try and make your way from Croydon to Tottenham. Basically that.
Mm.
And that's what it was like for me. So I had to wake up stupid hours in the morning and just gather as much change as I could to get a bus, to try and eat. My breakfasts were very unhealthy, but I was just trying to fool myself, just eat anything I could. Get to training. That lasted for about 3 months. By then at the time also my mum moved to Canada to try and help me. So she moved to Canada again because I had family there, because she wanted to stay with me and all this and that. And I said, Mum, no, let me do this on my own, because if you're with me and you've seen how much I'm struggling, seeing you upset will not benefit me in any way. So you just disappear, get out of my life to an extent, and let me fix myself up. Mm-hmm. I said bye to my missus in the UK. I said, I need to leave for my own good. I'm not saying that I'm leaving you behind. It's just a see you soon type of thing, if you haven't found anyone. But I need to do this for myself. I need to go. And I'm in Colombia. 3 months go by, and we played a game. The chairman came in, and he liked me. Even though he liked me, and he said, how much do you want? I should have just snapped his hands. But I said, no, I don't want to sign. Even though I had no money, no income, no home. And he said, why? You've been struggling. You're at basically one of the biggest teams in Colombia type of thing, and I want to sign you. I said, no, because I'm not in a position to compete. Mentally, I'm still recovering, I'm still healing, and I'm not ready. I'm happy now. Not happy, but I'm happier because I'm playing someone, I'm training with people that don't judge me, and I've been given an opportunity to train with a professional team and a team that a lot of my family support. So for me, this is a success. I'm happy. And he came back a few weeks later. We had another training match and I done really well in there. He said, no, I need to sign you. I said, okay. So I called this agent who was helping me, and he flew from London, obviously, to Colombia. I'm a Colombian guy. And in my head, I was thinking, I'm gonna get X amount of money. So I started asking around, what do you need to earn here to survive? Or to just be comfortable. And they're telling me, and then I was asking people that are there for so long, and then they're telling me what they're on. I'm thinking, well, I can't be earning more than them, because obviously I won't be able to survive on that, because at least they've got a family house there. And then the agent came down, they really want you a year contract, and they're making you the second highest paid player. And I was like, what? So I've gone from not playing football to not being physically fit properly, to perform at the highest level. And they wanna make me the second highest paid player. I was like, okay, and how much is that? He told me. I'm thinking, oh my God. This is basically 3 times more than the numbers that people were telling me. And then also they gave me a house. Because that's what I said to him. I don't care about the money, but I want a house, because I've not had a home, a place I can call home for so long. So, and yeah, man. So this was just leading up to the end of the 2014 year. So I got sacked in 2013 December on the 9th. And then leading up to the new year is when they offered, they're basically leading up to the end of the year of 2014 was when they offered me a contract.
So you did 12 months, no income, no club, and then.
Basically nearly a year.
And I don't know much about Colombian football. Like, what level is this? Could these like compete against a Prem team? Like,
Well, recently you had a Colombian team play against Crystal Palace in a friendly in America. So they're very good. The quality is very good.
nice. So you had what? You did 1 year there?
So obviously I ended up signing, and I went from finally thinking I had everything in line. They said, we're gonna give you, I think it was 30,000, between 20,000 to $30,000 sign on fee. And I was like, what? That to me, I think I won the lottery. Bang, I've got no bank account. The agent said, put in my bank account and I will look after Chris. Boom, bank account, signed a contract, put in his bank account, he was gone. He took everything. And he just said, you're now gonna be the second highest paid player to wait for your paycheck in a month. I was like, well, you can't even give me maybe $100 for me to like eat something. No, you're gonna be the second highest. I said, yeah, but I earned this through struggle. And I showed him what potential they could have here. That I've done all my work. You just came to try and help me negotiating this. It took everything. So then again, I have a setback. And I said, you know what, I'm grateful because now I find a club, at least I've got a home. They showed me the house, boom, swimming pool, basically bodyguard, like guy walking past my front room with a shotgun. So like, no, it's not dangerous, but it's just protection. And boom, then all of a sudden I got a car. Then boom, I was able to fly my mom to Colombia with my first pay, fly my missus from the UK to Colombia with my first pay. So I was back reunited with my missus.
Once you moved to Colombia with her?
Yeah, she moved to Colombia with me for a year. And then after that, being in Colombia then taught me the value of money. How hard, obviously, as a young kid, I went from school to scholarship to professional contract, earning money, dun. Being in Colombia, then going through that, how hard it is to forget it and how easy it is to lose it because it was overnight. Being in Colombia taught me the value of money and the appreciation for fans. So I've learned something there. See how hard fans were working, or they wouldn't eat to go watch us play because how much they love the club, people losing their lives because like it was some sad moment because they couldn't afford to get a bus or the coach or the train, or because Colombia's so big, everywhere we played away, you had to get a plane. Wow. But fans would have to find a way. Some will have to jump on the back of a lorry. And obviously, you lose your grip, you fall down, bang, you get splattered. And that happened a couple of times. So, and I only knew because my family who used to go watch me would say, oh, when we were driving to this place and to come and watch you, we saw someone die. And then everything started like clicking about football. Fans, how they live their lives, what they do for the badge, what they do for the club, and all those things. And then I started helping fans out who would contact me. I would give them some money for food, and I started appreciating what I had. And I started realizing if I've got a roof and food in my plate and my kid is looked after and my missus is sound, I can help out. And I done that because I wish someone done it the way I would have liked to when I was going through that struggle. Yes, my missus had an accommodation, which was good, but I wasn't eating right. I wish those friends that were drinking in nightclubs with me would offer me a hand and offer me maybe a slice of toast. Nah, they all laughed at me, thinking you'll never come back. And all of that stayed with me. Nah, you're fucked. All of that stayed with me. I hold no grudges.
Those friends, they didn't look after you?
Nah. I had one who I always say to him, I'm grateful. But I had one, he gave me a pair of boots because even my boots from the football club, they got stolen by a friend who went to pick him up for me, to bring them to me. He took them with him because he knew I couldn't get to him because I had no car, I had no way of contacting him. He took my boots, he took everything. So everything was literally taken from me. So this person called Gerald, he now I think works for Tottenham Academy. He gave me a pair of Pumas. And in my life, I never thought I'd put a pair of Pumas on my feet, but I did it. And those boots were the first pair of boots that I wore my first match in Colombia. I think on my Instagram, there's a post about it. I'll probably share it with you later. And yeah, being in Colombia taught me all of that. And eventually after a year there, I saved my money, saved a bit of change, and I decided to come back to the UK because I wanted to see my eldest son. And being back in the UK, I had no intention of playing football. Why? Because I got told that I would never play football again in the UK because of what I went through.
Did you believe that?
I believed it, but I believed that I was going to play abroad somewhere else. Never thought I would be back in the UK to play football.
So you came back after that contract ended with the Colombian team?
Yeah.
They offer you a new one or not?
No, we just got into discussion. I said I think it was my time there was done and I was grateful for what they did for me, but I missed my son, my eldest. Missed him. Because in the process of me losing myself, I lost interest. So I was just focused on how I was gonna be back to that kid who loved life in Colombia. That kid that first moved to England after I struggled a little bit when I was a young kid, but when I found a school and I was playing football, I wanted to rediscover that kid, those feelings, that passion. And once I found it, I said it's time for me to go back to the UK, and if I've got to get a job, I will get a job. And the first thing I did, came back. My missus was back. She came back, I think, a few weeks before me. And I went to see my son, spent some time with him. And then randomly I got a phone call from Daryl Clark, who's now he hasn't got a club at the moment, to be fair, but he was the manager of Bristol Rovers at the time. And the same question that people in Colombia asked me, he asked me on a phone call. He said, how much do you want to earn? I want to sign you. We're just being promoted from the conference. And I've been told that if I do sign you, we'll get promoted to League One. And I believe in second chances. And I was like, look, I'm not in a position, even though I played in Colombia at a good level, I'm not in a position to ask for money. My image here is tarnished, but you having that faith and believe in me that you feel like I could help the team maybe achieve promotion to League One, you give me what you can afford to give me. Just give me a house. And deal done. Then what he offered me, decent, but it was, I'll put it into perspective, it was basically what I was earning when I was 17 with no kid. This time I've come back to the UK on that money, and I'll have a missus and I'll have a children.
You signed a 1-year deal?
Yeah. And I signed a 1-year deal, and the rest is history, man. That first season I got promoted with them to League One.
What position do you play?
At the time I was playing as a winger. Now I play left back, left wing back, left winger. At the moment this season I'm playing right midfield.
Nice. That was a great season. And what, more offers then came and you
I extended my contract there for another year in League One, played 1 year, but then I had to make a decision based on my missus as well, because I sat down and I said, you follow me, like she followed me everywhere. The support when I had nothing, and now, even though I wasn't rich, but I was now comfortable and I was finding myself again, and it's like healing and trauma and all those things, like, it takes time. You get me? But first and foremost, you have to take responsibility within yourself and be patient with yourself, because healing is a forever ongoing process. And I was in a position where I was content with how I've managed to changed my life around. And I said to her, now it's time for me to find a club closer to your family. You followed me to Colombia. You've left your job at home to move to London and support me. You followed me to Bristol. And at this time, obviously, we had our first kid, Nico. He's 6 now. And I was like, we've got no family near, so I need to find a club. So I spoke to the manager. We came into an agreement that I wasn't gonna. He wanted to give me a deal, but he didn't promise me how much time I was gonna play. So I said I'd rather just call it quits and thank you for the opportunity. And I'm moving. I left, went on holiday with my missus, came back and had Paul Bell rang me in League 2 at the time, and I said, okay, it's closer to her family. Because her mum and dad live in Blackpool way. So for Paul Vale is in Stoke-on-Trent, it's closer than Bristol. So at least I'm doing something that I said I would do. So we'll go League 1. I'm in League 2, Paul Vale, and went to Paul Vale and I signed a 2-year contract. Because of the clauses I put in I started to learn, I've learned to be wise and know what to ask for. Not money, but more protection of what I want to achieve and where I want to go. So the contract was done in the way that the club felt it was fair because of my ambitions. And after the first year, they felt like I could be gone for free. So we renegotiated a contract and I signed a new 2-year contract. So then after my 3rd year, I signed another year contract, and I was happy at Paul Vale, probably the happiest I've ever been somewhere, because it was the club that allowed me to be myself again. The club that allowed me to open up about my struggles for the first time, which is why here I'm talking to you so openly, because the belief and the confidence the club gave me, their platform, to share my story on World Mental Health Day was big for me. Something that I've always spoke to my family about. Like before this, I used to always laugh about how silly was I to try and take my life because of the opinions of others. And because of me just being naive and silly and being ashamed and embarrassed. And me and my mom, sometimes my missus, we talk about it. And I laugh, man. I'm like, and look at me now. But when Paul Vale approached me, the media guy, Max, who now works at Millwall, he approached me, Chris, it's World Mental Health Day. I see how open you talk about your life and all this, and you're not ashamed of what people got to say about you no more. Like, it's so cool. Would you want to do a video? I said, a video? Fuck that. There's one thing talking to the teammates and trying to help them, but there's another thing speaking to a camera and then every fucker to watch me talk about my pain and that, and then relieve my struggle. Nah, I ain't doing that. And then he's like, nah, trust me, he's gonna be good. So, bro, you can watch it. Like, I will show you the link as well of that. And I spoke, and the first time speaking to the camera about my struggles, and boom, then I realized how many people out there struggle. I realized how similar we all are. And the amount of people that approached me after that video went live, people that, when I came back, obviously I was back on Instagram, and people that I was staying in contact with, that I spoke to on a daily basis, I feel like that. How do you overcome that? I struggle with depression. I've never shared it. I never spoke to anyone. And I was like, so we've been talking for how long since I've come back to the UK and you've never opened up? But then I put myself in a position that I was in when I was going to take my own life. I never spoke to anyone. And then I was like, And there was me thinking that I was the only one struggling the way I was struggling. This is a bigger issue. And then families started coming to training. We've watched your story. We watched your, like, you're so brave, how you spoke and what you said. Can you please come to my house and help us with our son? Cool. Bang. I'll go to the house. Dang. Now, one of the kids is now doing kickboxing professionally, and he wouldn't leave his house. He would be headbutting the wall, things like that. Then boom, I'll drop my kid nursery in Stoke. All the time I'll go pick him up, I'll have a note. Chris, can you come call this number because they need your help? So in a sense, I came like a, how can I call it? I'm not professionally qualified to do these things, but my lived experiences and the way I overcame my things have allowed me to help a lot of individuals. And then I was like, okay, what else can I do to help people? And I started helping, and it got to one that it made me really ill because of how hurt this individual was and how much he was going through. So me containing my feelings and trying to give my energy to this person, I got home and I got ill. I was crying. I lost my balance. I couldn't really walk. And then I said, okay, I know enough now about myself, but you can never know enough. I need help myself. And I got in touch with a mindset coach, not a mental health person, more like a mindset coach. How to be me. How to do things for myself in order to do things for others first. How to take care of myself. What things? Huh?
Recently, or how long ago was this?
I started doing this 3 years into Port Vale, and I still do it.
And how long ago was you at Port Vale?
2 years ago.
Amazing. And what breakthroughs did you? First of all, how did you find this guy?
Oh, amazing. Because you get to understand life. You get to understand yourself. Little details that as humans, we always feel we're not good enough when we fail at something. We feel we're not good enough when we make a mistake. And then he taught me something that I always take with me, and I teach my kids, and I say it to myself repeatedly before games. Especially in football, it happens a lot. The fear of making a bad pass, the fear, the judgment of the fans, the manager, your teammates. And I sit down with my eyes closed and I visualize myself in different ways, as the first person, as the second person, as the third person, as my kid watching me. And I just get myself in a zone, and then I speak to myself. Mistakes are not mistakes unless you're doing them on purpose. Mistakes are part of life and you need them to learn. So I'm not going out there to make a mistake. I'm going out there to play my football and do the best for myself, which then allows me to do the best for my teams. So if I make a mistake, I bounce back because I'll use that as a learning curve. So if I misplace a pass, it doesn't matter. And I've learned to analyze things in seconds. If I made that bad pass, what did I do wrong? What was I thinking about before I received that ball? So then when I receive the ball again, have a better vision, have a better way of thinking, have a better way of, maybe my body could be different. Maybe the way I play the pass should be a bit more heavier or less pace in it. So things like that. And I go into that game and that's it, it's me against myself. I'm not going out there. I used to go out there to play for the fans and the manager and my teammates. And this man, Mervyn, taught me that in life, you can't do anything to please other people. As much as in the corporate world, you want to please your bosses, you want to do all these things, it's amazing. But along the journey of you actually doing those things, where's your fulfillment? Where's your happiness? How are you gonna actually fulfill your role and do your best if you're doing it for the what's that word, man? For the acceptance of others. And he said, why don't you go out there and do it for yourself? Play for you. Do what makes you happy. Play that path that you want to make. Listen to the information you get given, but play your game. Because if you do that, and if you apply that in life, whoever you're with will benefit from it in a better way, and they will get a happier Christian. And I apply that in my day-to-day life. My missus, I sat down with her and we've had a conversation. I love you. I love my kids. Now they are my best friends. My mom, like in my life, I've got my 2 kids, my missus and my mom. And obviously then you've got my missus' mom and dad and her family who've been amazing with me. But people that I appreciate and I love so much, but mainly my kids and my missus, especially like living with my missus. Oh, I've got to do things to please her, to not piss her off, to keep her happy. No, but what about me? And sometimes we laugh and I say, you know what, fuck you. Fuck you and fuck you, little man. But obviously not in those words. And my missus is like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I got to take care of myself. If you want to see the best of me, let me do what makes me happy. And then you'll get a better Christian. And like, okay, babe. But she believes it now because she's seen everything. And she said, I don't know how you do it. And the amount of pain and the amount of struggle, the amount of obstacles that get thrown at you, and then you just rise above it all the time. How do you do it? And I said, my belief. And that's life, man. And obviously, I know I'm leaving it too late in regards of like what I said to you on the phone. I love the unknown. I love the pain. I love struggle. I don't know if that's because something I've had to encounter my whole life.
You think you almost seek it because you've always had it? Is it almost comfortable for you now, even though it sounds weird, but is it the uncomfortable comfortable for you?
Yeah.
You've always had it, do you know what I mean? Whereas when you go through a moment where you're like, I'm comfy, do you not feel a little bit like...
I feel edgy. I feel uncomfortable. When I'm comfortable, I feel very uncomfortable.
So talk to me about your recent, obviously you moved up to Scotland now, right? How did that happen? What happened?
That happens again because...
I'm guessing when you started doing that mindset stuff, your performance then started to improve even more, right?
Yeah, they started improving even more because obviously I started playing obviously further back, left back. And the mindset guy, we had a target, and he was, you got 4 games in a month. Try and get a goal or an assist within a month. Because if you do that, you play football's 10 months. If you do that, that means you've contributed 10 goals this season. Don't put yourself under any sort of pressure, but just give yourself a small target. Goal or assist a month. That means you've contributed to 10 goals. Whether you...
He said that to you. Did you have any goals like that or not?
Nah, my goals were always, I want 15 goals. I want to score 5 goals. I want to score. And I was like, you know what, he simplified everything. And it was just, okay, we got 4 or 5 games a month. 10 months is the season, 11 months. If I do that, I've contributed to 11 or 10 goals.
Yeah.
And I've done that, scored about 6 goals, 5 assists. And then Scotland came about because I had a conversation again with the manager who signed me at Bristol Rovers, who eventually became my manager. But before he came, I was set to stay at Port Vale, but we had a conversation again. You earn X amount of money, and I wanted to stay, but I want to give you a pay cut. I said, well, be quick and tell me what you're thinking, type of thing. And he was being Like, yes, I won you, and I said, you know what? Now I got my family to take care of, so you know what? And then I heard the interest from Livingston. I thought, why not? Like, different league, different challenge. I love Port Vale. Like, I love that place. If I could go back there eventually in the near future, I would. But at the moment, I'm comfortable and I'm happy at Livingston. But the move came about. My agent rang me. I've changed agent at this time. Obviously, I've got a different agent. And he said, obviously, Livingston are interested. They've been watching you for a year. They like the way you play. Would you consider moving up there? I said, let me speak to the manager. I spoke to the manager on a Zoom call. He liked what he heard from me, my mindset, how I see things and how I think. He said, let's get it done. And I took a massive pay cut. And I went back and told the manager at Port Vale, I said, you know what, I'm actually moving for a lot less money. Because I used to play football for money. I used to see money and material things as a success above happiness. But having a happy mindset, being able to just relax and think differently, being able to just go for a walk, that's success for me. Before it was material things. How much money can I earn? How many cars can I try and drive or own or house or this and that? But then I realized that it was the more money you get, the more trouble you get, the more stress you come across in different ways. It could be through going out of town, but you're not realizing. It could be the people that all of a sudden get attached to you. So I became I became attached to the game again, but with a different mindset. And he was like, okay, I will take a pay cut. I'll come there and I'll play. Simple, just help me with it. Everything after I've made my bounce back and my comeback, it was more about accommodation. Where my kid could be, a house, whatever it is, help with that, and we're nice. But money, you give me whatever you can afford, type of thing. And I said, I'm moving up to Scotland. So my missus, after the Zoom call, I said, my missus, pack your bags, we're leaving. She said, what? So I said, yeah, we're moving up to Scotland. We moved to Scotland, we've been here, going up to our 3rd year. I love it.
You're loving it, yeah?
Yeah, love it, bro. Like, it's good. Love it. And
there's so much value in this. Like, there's all the values really in your story and the lessons for people. I feel like I could talk to you all day about all this stuff, right? And we might have to take 2 or whatever. But like, I do want to ask a couple of questions. So, the first one is, you walk into Starbucks tomorrow. Your 18-year-old self is sat there. What advice do you give him, knowing what you know now?
What advice would I give him?
If you've only got 1 minute, if you're like, I've got to speak to him in a minute while he's in the queue or whatever, you only get 1 minute, what do you say?
I would say never be ashamed of whatever you about to go through in life. Appreciate yourself, regardless of what pain or struggles you go through. Be honest with your feelings and emotions. And there's always someone out there that's willing to listen to you.
So powerful. So powerful. On that, how do we get guys, because I think this is a problem with men, right, in general, to open up? What do you think is the answer to that, the solution?
The answer to the solution, it could be, there's different things, Obviously, I do a lot of, like, my brand, mental health, supporting mental health, and I speak to a lot of people, but a lot of it, there's so many things you can do to help someone open up. Approach the individual without any judgmental feelings or nothing. Just be gentle, be honest.
What about for the person listening to this right now who's in the pain?
In the pain, just know your worth. And I mean your worth in regards, you are worth it. That you being in this world, it means a lot to a lot of people and yourself. You add so much amazing things to this world, and there's a lot of people out there that will be willing to listen to you and speak to you and help you out. No one would judge you, because the minute you open up, believe that person that you're talking to could be going for something similar, but others are good at hiding, like I used to be. So yeah, just be honest, man.
Now, are you completely like honest, open, or do you still hide a little bit as well?
I don't hide nothing. I don't hide nothing, man. I'm honest. I'm not ashamed of nothing now, and I mean nothing.
What do you reckon helped you get that breakthrough?
What helped me?
Yeah, obviously, like you was hiding stuff a lot, and then obviously you had your big breakthrough moment where you spoke to your mum and your missus. Has it been almost since then you've been really open, or has it been like a journey?
Since then, I've been very open, in-house, closed doors. Then up until the Paul Vell interview, I've been open everywhere. Instagram, wherever I go, I will speak about mental health. I'll speak about my story a little bit to let people know that no matter what you go through, like there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to believe it. For someone to, I'll use my story because everyone is different out there. But my story to other individuals could be small, but to me it was huge. And a lot of people don't open out because we believe that what we're going through is not worth talking about because it's so tiny maybe in the eyes of someone else. But what I say is, no matter what you go through, no matter how small it may seem to, how small you think that it may seem to someone else, it does not fucking matter. Because if it's bothering you, it's huge. So it could be stupid stuff. It could be something so small that you think is stupid. But if that stupid thing is bothering you, it's not small. And that's why a lot of people, I think, don't speak. Because they will get into their mind and overthink things. Just let it be, man. Just let it come out. Because overthinking is the kill of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. And that's the thing, overthinking will take you to the grave.
100%. Last question, mate. This is quite a big question, to be fair, but it's been such an insightful conversation. And you've got your business, your brand, champion mindset, and for me, you have serious elite champion mindset. Talk me through like some of the daily rituals and habits you have in place that have allowed you to create the way that you think.
I do a lot of things, man.
I thought you might.
So my routine daily, because I've got a little boy who's quite active, and the minute he wakes up, it's daddy this, daddy that, daddy that. So I try and wake up a lot earlier, and I'll say before I go to bed, I'll do my prayers, and then I'll stick on a podcast or a YouTube video, depending on how I'm feeling. Because I'm now able to identify what I need. So it could be something motivational, it could be something for anxiety, it could be something for depression, because you could never escape depression, you could never escape those things. You just learn to live with them and deal with them better. So depending on the mood I'm feeling, I will stick something on, sleep like a baby, I'll wake up, morning prayer, and then I will do the same thing, listen to something along the lines of what I've just said, read Book.
What books do you read?
Winning. I've got them there. I've got Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Um, I read a lot of books at the same time. So,
Mainly like self-help or
huh?
mainly self-help, personal development books or just all sorts?
I read one that you're reading at the moment.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
My guy.
I read one that you're reading right now,
Such
and there's one about winning mentality.
But
That
yeah,
huh?
Tim Grover.
Yeah.
So good.
So I read a few lines, and then I'll get myself in a cold bath every morning, and which helps obviously with your mental health and all that, and also to start your day feeling uncomfortable. Sets you up for the day. So whatever comes my way, I'll be able to face it because I start my day like that. So mindset and then body treatment through the cold bath.
Yeah.
And my kid gets up and then the day's already won, man. And just enjoy my kid, whatever we got to do, my missus. I'm just grateful for life, man. I'm grateful for everything that I've been through, the pain, man. I love the pain.
It must have been so hard going through it at the time, but it's actually made the person that you are today, which makes you so uniquely qualified to be able to make a massive impact. And I love what you said about you no longer identify yourself as a footballer, because you're way more than that now because of what you've been through. You're going to impact so many people, I think, through your story and through what you can teach them and what you've learned in your own pain, which I think is, you can only go through that. You can't get that in a book. Do you know what I mean? Like, we love to read the books and we get the gems, but when you've gone through something like you have, it uniquely qualifies you to be able to really change lives. So mate, I'm really grateful that you came on today, first of all, because I think this is going to make a massive difference. But I'm just excited to watch your journey. Obviously, you're going to continue to smash your football career, and then what you do after that with all of the ideas that you have, mate. I think you're going to make a massive difference for a lot of people.
Oh, let's hope so, man. Let's hope so. And thank you, man, for having me on. And it's been a pleasure. I've not spoke about my life in so long, but I'm grateful they give me the opportunity again. And hopefully whoever watches this or listens to this, they can take something from it. And no matter what you're going through right now, whilst you listen to this, or you're not going through right now, and you ever actually face any obstacles in your life, just know that with belief, faith, and yourself, you can overcome anything. But always have God in front of you. If you feel like you can't have him in front of you, have him beside you, never behind you. And just, you could also have him behind you now to give it a little push when you feel like you're struggling. If he can't pull you, he'll push you, or he will walk beside you. And just have faith in yourself. And if you're struggling, just feel like there's so many of us that struggle on a daily basis. I struggle, but I just learn how to deal with it better. And I'm not ashamed of my struggles. Pain, struggle will allow you to become a better person and eventually a happy person, because you're able to see who's there for you, for who you are, rather than be with you for what you've got. So always just embrace everything that you go through, man, and just be grateful for life, for the people that are around you that want to help you.
So powerful, mate. You've been dropping gems. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram, Christian with a R .Montano11, and that's it, man. I've got no other social media. Why? Because I'm in control of what people see or what they can write on my things rather than Twitter. I don't have no Twitter, mate. So start with that as well. Try and take control of your life.
So true.
Take control of what you can see, man, or what you want to see. And if you don't like bad things, negative stuff, take yourself away from that, man. And that's why I don't have Twitter, because Twitter is an evil place, man.
Facts. Mate, thanks so much for coming on. Guys, go and follow this man. All the best, buddy. I appreciate you. Thanks, mate.
Thank you, bro.